Hello everyone. So welcome to the video of quick review of England team's performance throughout the tournament. Right. So we are going to talk about their overall performance. Right. Uh, what uh, what were the areas where they lacked, and what could have been, and then what were the key finds of the tournament. Right. So let's first talk about their, overall performance. Right. So to summarize, I think they dominated the matches that they won, but whenever they were put under pressure, I think the few clinks in the armor, I think, that showed up. Right. So let's talk about the matches that they dominated. Right. So versus West Indies, Bangladesh, and Australia. Right. I think they were lucky with the toss in all those matches, and then they bowled pretty well to their credit, right? And everything they tried worked on in all those matches, right? So by the half time, the game was done, right? And some would say by the toss, the game was done, but you know. uh, like toss is an uncontrollable. So let's talk about what they did well. So I think yeah, they got the wickets in the power play, and Morgan was excellent in terms of captainship, and they always put the opposition under pressure. They had the extra bowling option of Livingston, right? So they used Moeen Ali and Livingston pretty well, right, as per the matchup. And Morgan goes with the matchup. He takes the decision based on analytics as well. So data plus instinct is Morgan's style of captaincy. So I think yeah, they dominated the matches that they won, and that was reflected in their net run rate as well, right? Let's talk about the matches where they were put under pressure, right? So versus South Africa, right? They were put under pressure, and one of the weaker links for them was their death bowling, right? With Archer missing, and then Mills also getting injured. So yeah, that showed up, right, versus South Africa. Like South Africa went big in the death overs, right, and England couldn't replicate that, right. So I think the other factor was lack of form from Morgan. So that also impacted the South Africa match. I think England were in good position if Morgan was his normal self. So yeah, I think that showed up in the South Africa versus England. Not a pressure match because England were already qualified, and they were probably going to finish at top anyway. But still, it was I think the way South Africa played. I think they put pressure on them, and they won the match. And then versus New Zealand, again, their death bowling was weak, and that showed up versus New Zealand. So I think Jordan is pretty decent death bowler, right? Mark Wood has not really bowled much in the death, and he's more of a your force the issue kind of bowler in the middle overs or in the power play, rather than bowling in the depth with the slower ones and Yorkers. I think those are not strength of Mark Wood. I think he's well equipped to bowl the short ball and hit the deck hard, right? So again, the lack of death bowling got exposed versus New Zealand as well. So and then I think the last match which they won, but I think the end result doesn't really show how close this match was. So I think Sri Lanka versus Sri Lanka. So I think Sri Lanka were in a good position, right, in that match, and the lack of experience from Sri Lanka actually. Due to that, Sri Lanka actually lost the match, but the match was in their favor, in Sri Lanka's favor. And at one point, I think the when Hasaranga and Sanka were playing, I think at that time Sri Lanka were looking to win the match, and I think England had one over of Moeen Ali left, so 1 or 2 overs, right, and Mills obviously got injured at the wrong time. But yeah, that was another good match where Sri Lanka put them under pressure, right? So I think overall tournament, I think England played below expectation, I would say, right? It might not look like that way. The perception might be different because they won in pretty comprehensive manner in their starting matches, and then though they lost back to back, right? So some might feel that they were a better team than their performance suggests in the tournament, right? So below expectation performance from England, I would say, to summarize, right? uh, what did they miss, right? So I think in any team, if you have player like Ben Stokes and Jofra Archer and they are injured, then you are not they're injured or not fit, right, physically or mentally, then you are going to miss these players because they are superstars. They are such a match winner, right? Ben Stokes, they missed him because he would have provided them the extra bowling option. He can bowl at the death, and then he can bowl in the middle overs, he can bowl in the power play, and then he would have replaced David Malan, right? So David Malan didn't do well in the tournament, even if he even though he has been number at number one ranking from quite some time, but I don't think he's the best T20 batsman. Like, that is a fact, and I think he is not he will not be part of the England's strongest team with all the players available, right? So I think if Ben Stokes was available, then he would have played instead of David Malan. So yeah, they missed Ben Stokes and they missed Jofra Archer. Yeah, they missed Jofra Archer big time. Because Jofra Archer is one of the best T20 bowlers, right? And I think one of the best bowlers across format. So he bowls at the start, excellent bowler at the death, right? And then he hits pretty big sixes as well. So they missed these two big players, right? Now, what did they find? What was surprising in the England's campaign, right? So the way Chris Wokes bowled, I think he has not played T20 match or T20 games from quite some time. International T20, I'm talking about. So the way he bowled in the power play, I think that is good for new. That works well for England going forward, because he might be part of their best 11 as well, even when Ben Stokes and Jofra Archer come, like they can use him for 3 overs in the power play, right, and then 1 over probably, and they don't even need to bowl him, right, if they don't want, in the middle overs. And I think Vokes provide them with the extra batting option as well. So I think that was a find of the tournament. I don't think you can say Chris Wokes, a player of his stature and his experience, as a find. But I think, England tried it and it worked well for them, and I think they are going to keep him in the T20 circuit, right? And then Livingston, right? So I think if you are following England's cricket, and in general their domestic T20 tournaments, then you will not be surprised by Livingston's performance in this tournament, right? But on the international stage, I think he uh, this was the first time probably where I think uh, he got exposed to big matches, and I think he delivered, right? And he has really shown his value in this tournament. He is a big hitter, right? Probably you know didn't play any significant inning, because I think he didn't get much of a chance. When England won, they won pretty convincingly, and in the pressure matches he hit some sixes, but I think not a big innings. He didn't play any big innings, but I think still he is going to stay in the England side, and I think he should be part of the England's strongest 11 as well. And I think he is going to be, watch out for Livingston in next IPL auctions, or for next 4 or 5 years. I think he is going to make a name for himself in the T20 tournaments across the world, right? Then lastly, what is one thing that will worry England? I think lack of form from Morgan will worry England. I think they will still back him because he's a wonderful captain, and I think they believe in him. And he has shown his value, right? As a captain, he has taken England. Uh, he has taken England to next step in terms of the shorter format. But I think the lack of form from Morgan will worry England. And if you look at the next T20 World Cup, it is going to be in Australia, right? And Morgan is not comfortable with the short ball. So the next World Cup is not going to be easy for Morgan if he doesn't change things around quickly. So yeah, that is the review of England's tournament, and thank you everyone for joining in. Have a great day. Bye bye.